I wouldn't want to go in the future. Honestly, I wouldn't want to see the future. But, I would like to go back to Leave It to Beaver or Donna Reed show days. When life was a little bit more simpler before, it kind of got crazy of the 70s.
Well, I mean, I was a kid in the 60s, and so, I mean, I remember what all that was like, and, it's not much different than it is now. I mean, we kind of have this nostalgic view of the past and saying, oh, things were so much simpler then, and people were nicer, and like, well, yeah, no, that's not.
Well, I don't remember my mom making cakes and making cookies and having milk for me when I got home from school, so I guess that's probably true.
Well, but I mean, you're looking at that as through the eyes of a child. How was it with your mom? She was just like, oh my God, he's coming! I got to make these darn cookies and get the milk out. No, there's no milk. And
here's a package of cookies.
If you go back to this time and try to relive it as an adult, it probably wouldn't be quite as nostalgic.
Little trivia for you guys. What TV show was the first toilet ever shown on?
MASH.
Oh boy, James, there's no hope for you. No, you ready for this? Leave It to Beaver. It was the very first time they showed a toilet on TV.
Well, you got me on that one.
And the John Birch Society was up in arms.
Probably. I know from what the network said, yeah, they were upset too, but they actually let it go by. They took a lizard and put it in the toilet tank, to hide it from the parents.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was the first time any part of a toilet was actually shown on national TV.
Wow.
Well, now, Gary, if you could actually, or both of you actually, if you could travel into the past and go and see something that you've always been interested in seeing, where would you go? What would you want to see?
I want to see the stock markets. The stock exchange just before the crash, and I would take a whole bunch of money with me and buy certain stocks. That way, I would come out as a bandit rich.
Oh my goodness! Me, personally, I'd like to live in I'd like to live in 1870s. Get me my six shooting Schofield, and I'd be good to go. But I would like to go back to see how they built these pyramids to get the true secrets as far as seeing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. That'd be interesting. I mean, for me, I would like to go back to see, say like at Roswell or some of these other past cases to see if they actually happened, the way that they've been reported. And but beyond that, I think it would be interesting to go back in the early days of humanity to see just exactly where we did come from, whether or not we did drop out of the trees and start wandering the savannah, or whether or not there was some kind of extraterrestrial intervention that kind of gave us a genetic jump start.
I like to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you could go back to when supposedly Eisenhower had that meeting with extraterrestrials on the runway or wherever it was. That would be interesting.
Yeah. See, that's a scenario that I've talked about before. When it comes to whether or not UFOs actually represent extraterrestrial visitors. And I've speculated that in the past that the United States government and maybe the Russians as well really did have visits from these things that they were told that they're from other planets, but probably, they probably not. I mean, probably not from other planets. That they were, that, like I discussed earlier in this show, that these things claimed, were from Zeta Reticuli or whatever, and then later on, the government discovered that they basically were just, being told tall tales, and that we still don't know what these things are, where they're from, and why they're flying around in our skies, and why we're so interested, why they're so interested in us. And I think that's one of the reasons why disclosure has not happened, and probably won't happen for a really long time, because nobody dares admit that they don't know what's going on, that they've been lied to over the years by these things, and that what the civilian population knows about UFOs is probably about as much as the government military knows.
Yeah, well, you know what? We already know there's no such thing as aliens. Roswell never happened. It was a weatherized balloon that was made out of mylar, which wasn't even invented back then. But I don't know when the last time the Air Force came out a few years ago and went Roswell, they were showing, the original weather balloons back that time were made out of rubber. Okay, They were rubberized, not the type of material that the Air Force was trying to pass on to us. But you know what? It's all fake news. It's not real.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, it's like from the original Men in Black movie, where they go to the newsstand and buy a bunch of copies of the World Weekly News and the National Enquirer and things like that. And it's just like, why are you buying this stuff? It's fake news. It's like, this is the most accurate news that's out there. Everything else is fake. This stuff is the real stuff. This is what's really going on.
Probably is. It was probably more accurate than we're getting from the government. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, Tim, why don't you tell people here before I let you go that you and your cohort, what is your show? When is it on? And all that stuff. And where can they find it?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'll just say that, if you're interested in any of the stuff that we've been talking about tonight, we probably published a book about it. So go to Amazon.com. It's probably the best place, and just type in Tim R. Swartz or Timothy Green Beckley, and, dozens and dozens of books will come up. Guaranteed you'll find something interesting to read. Now, we also do a webcast on Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. That's KCOR.com and KCORradio.com. It's called Exploring the Bizarre. And we've been doing this for a few years now, and we always try to find, just some of the most fascinating guests out there. And you're always guaranteed to have a good time and learn something when you listen to our show. So that's Exploring the Bizarre with Tim Swartz and Timothy Green Beckley, and our website is conspiracyjournal.com. Just as it sounds.
Well, Tim, like always, I want to thank you for coming on. You're going to be on later in the month. I do appreciate you coming in short notice. I really appreciate it. You always have so much to say, and the listeners love it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Well, and truck drivers out there and the and everybody else who's listening enjoys it, then I'm always happy to come back and talk about this kind of stuff, because it's fascinating to me, and just makes me so happy that other people find it fascinating as well, and aren't afraid to admit it like they used to.
Big shout out to the truckers there. Anyway, Tim, I want to thank you very much, and we will talk to you later. And you know what? Have a good night's sleep, and don't think about those jars tonight.
I'll do my best, Gary. Thank you.
Okay, my friend. You take care.
See you.
Okay, night. So, James.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do after the show? I'm gonna go get a jar of pickles and open them up. I'm gonna get those fancy dill pickles.
Oh, you get yourself some gherkins, huh?
Yeah.
Good eating, I guess I should say. Maybe, I don't know. My goodness.
Well, you know what? Skype has started acting funny the last 5 minutes. Good thing we only got about 3 minutes left of the show. Did you notice that when he was talking? He was towards the last. It was kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, it was breaking up big time on my end. Seriously, I thought I was going to cut him right off. Yeah. It's breaking up right now. So whatever it is affecting not just my Skype one line.
I got the second computer up running here, like a half an hour, 45 minutes ago. I don't know. I all these updates for Microsoft. Why can't they just leave it alone?
Exactly. Remember the one I got? I had to go through my computer system and line everything up, figure it and everything. It took me, 3 hours to figure all that out? It was just, why? Why?
Wow. Interesting, isn't it? Well, tomorrow on Night Dreams Talk Radio, let's see who we have. We have, tomorrow. Yes. What's tomorrow?
Thursday.
Yeah, let's see. We have Colleen Johnson on. Or no, we don't. It's Colleen. I can't remember her last name. She's going to be talking. Yeah, Foley. She's going to be talking about what, James?
She's going to be talking about, I believe, Lizzie Borden house and maybe some spirits and things like that.
Oh yeah, that should be a good, interesting show there. So all those people. I just wondered, how many whacks did she give her mom?
40.
40 whacks.
Well, it wasn't 40. I think it was a little less than that. But I used to, believe it or not, I used to live right around the corner from there for about 3 months, way back, back when I went to that barbecue and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, you're lucky you managed to get away from that barbecue, too.
I'm telling you. Jeez.
Well, tonight was a good show. I really like it when Tim Swartz come on. We can go on from one subject to another subject so smoothly and cover a couple of things. It's nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, I learned something tonight. I did not know that his buddy there was Commander X, the author Commander X. That blew me away.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was supposed to have him on my show, but he had to cancel last moment, back when I had that group of people on about Area 51.
Yeah, I remember that because I was doing some research on Commander X today, and I'm like, this is some good stuff, and I've read it before, but I didn't know that it was one and the same person.
Well, now you know.
I'm telling you, I learned something tonight.
Oh, yeah. I just can't wait to the 15th. That having two guests on a night, having the World Paranormal News on at the top of the hours, having Tobias Whalen on and having, Ryan on giving reports about UFOs. And I just think it's going to be an awesome, 4 hours of fun. Because you know what? The 3 hours, when we do the show now, it just seems to go right through.
Right. And, we're going to have a heck of a show on the 12th, too, with Terry coming on. That is going to be some really mind-blowing stuff. And then it's going to lead into the 15th, open up with our 4 hours. So it's going to be all good stuff.
Yeah, now I am taking the 13th and the 14th off. For the people that listen on the radio stations, you will hear 2 shows. So you're not going to hear me live. There's 2 pre-recorded shows for those days. You won't hear me on the internet. But if you're one of the lucky people that are listening on a radio station right now, you'll hear the shows on the 13th and the 14th. But the 12th is going to be a killer show. It's going to be about UFO abduction case that it'll knock your socks off. Trust me. It's going to be so astounding. You're going to have a hard time sleeping that night.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So don't drink coffee that day or that night, because I guarantee between what our guest is going to be talking about And what's going to happen that night? You will not sleep. Anyway, till tomorrow, James, you take care.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. And we'll talk to you tomorrow, I hope.